Next on the news, COVID crushing Christmas plans yet again, but this year you shouldn't be afraid to go to Mass.
If you're sick, first of all, you're excused, you're exempted. The church has always taught that.
Then these endless lines. At-home testing is on the way. The president promising millions, but is it too little too late? And another Christmas rush, presents under the tree. With supply issues, that's harder than ever.
Food, gas, and rent have skyrocketed. That doesn't leave much room for toys under the tree. But Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens is delivering some Christmas magic to families this holiday. I'm Jessica Easthope, that's ahead.
Plus, flying the unfriendly skies. Flight crews demanding self-defense training to protect themselves from rowdy passengers. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. The rush to beat back Omicron. New Yorkers waiting in the longest lines yet, and there's a lack of supply. Military troops are on their way back to New York City. What about at-home testing? It was supposed to be easy, not expensive. Prices soaring for do-it-yourself tests, that is, if you can find one. And what about masses? Another Christmas with COVID changing plans. Catholics questioning if they should even go. Many haven't been to a Christmas celebration since 2019. The Diocese of Brooklyn's new Bishop, Robert Brennan, joins us now to talk about the Omicron outbreak. And Bishop Brennan, with the Omicron variant spreading throughout the city, we're hearing of different places shutting down, like Broadway shows and sporting events. Are you concerned we could get to the point where churches will have to shut down again?
Not really. I don't think we need to go there. I think we're in a very different place than we were in the spring of 2020. We know a lot more about COVID, and we know how we can mitigate some of those concerns. Many people are vaccinated. In fact, New York City has one of the highest vaccination rates in the country. People have been wearing masks. People have been terrific, showing concern for one another. We've instilled all kinds of safety protocols. People have been following them. And obviously, individuals have to make choices based on their own health and circumstances. But in terms of shutting down, I don't see that as a reality.
All right, Christmas is just days away, and a lot of parishioners are still concerned about going to Mass. What are some of the safety protocols we have in our churches?
Well, as you know, in New York State, everyone is asked to wear masks indoors, and we've been encouraging that all along. So we're asking everybody, whether they're vaccinated or not, to wear masks. We don't use physical contact during the sign of peace. We haven't been using holy water. We're only offering communion under the one species. And I think most important is we fostered a sense of looking out for one another, trying to be respectful.
Now, there's no dispensation from our Mass obligation, but what about the elderly and the sick?
Well, the church has always taught that you don't need a dispensation, that if you're sick, first of all, you're excused, you're exempted. The church has always taught that, that if you're ill, you're exempt. The same goes if you're caring for somebody who is ill, or if your health is frail, like if going to Mass would put you in danger, or if you have a reasonable fear, then you are excused. You don't need the dispensation to do that. So, we ask people to make prudent decisions based on their own health, the health of the people around them, and the needs that are there. The other thing is that the threshold is lower. In the old days, people might have said, if you have a cough or a cold, deal with it and and then take the rest of the day off. Well, with COVID, we can't do that. So the threshold is a little bit lower. So something you may have mustered up the strength and gotten yourself out for in the past, you shouldn't be doing now.
Right, because nobody wants to sit next to somebody in the pew that's coughing or sneezing.
Exactly, and you may not know what you have. And that goes for the flu as well.
Right, absolutely. So it's another winter. We're dealing with COVID. People may not be getting together with their family and friends like they used to. So how do we keep the faith during what could be a very lonely time for some people?
Well, for something like this in terms of faith itself, it's great that we have Net TV that people can share with us in prayer. It's not the same as going to Mass, but but it's at least a connection. But also, even when we were in that point, when with the unknown and we had to shut down, the obligation to keep the Lord's Day was still there. And I was impressed by the way that so many families took on certain activities, whether it be gathering to watch the Mass, praying the rosary. And another thing is, you mentioned people feeling lonely, and that's a reality. I would encourage everyone to think of who they might be able to reach out, who might be able to use a phone call or a greeting, a little bit of extra attention, especially on a day like Christmas or those days around it. And these are great days for showing Christian charity, extreme Christian charity.
All right, Bishop Robert Brennan, thanks for joining us, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
If they can get their hands on them, New Yorkers are being forced to pay big money for those do-it-yourself home COVID tests. That's if they can even find them. There's a hunt right now for at-home tests, anything not to stand in line in the cold for hours. Before the Omicron outbreak, the tests were selling for about $24 a pair. Now it's about twice that and more. Plus, they are virtually sold out everywhere. The president says he has a plan to get Americans those tests, 500 million of them, for free. He also plans to deploy the military to overburdened hospitals and open even more vaccination and testing sites. With American anxiety brewing, the big question is when and if it's too late to beat back the Omicron outbreak. Darryl Forges has the latest.
With a new surge comes a new plan. The White House taking extra measures against COVID-19.
We all want this to be over, but we're still in it. And this is a critical moment. We also have more tools than we ever had before.
Among the new initiatives, 500 million free at-home rapid tests to be made available to Americans next month, new or expanded vaccination and testing sites with increased access, the deployment of 1,000 service members and additional medical teams in January and February to hospitals overwhelmed by the surge.
With putting up about 20,000 testing sites, with getting 500 million tests very quickly, literally within the next few days.
The president also reassuring people who are vaccinated, but also warning those who are unvaccinated about the potential threat of severe illness.
If you're not fully vaccinated, you have good reason to be concerned. You're at a high risk of getting sick. And if you get sick, you're likely to spread it to others. Almost everyone who has died from COVID-19 in the past many months has been unvaccinated.
The White House moving quickly as the Omicron variant surges nationwide. The CDC projects 73% of new cases across the country are Omicron.
If you are vaccinated and follow the precautions that we all know well, you should feel comfortable celebrating Christmas and the holidays as you planned it.
Darryl Forges, Currents News.
Oh, this is perfect. This is handy. This has a lot. Yes.
This looks like the holiday shopping rush, except it's not. These toys are free. They're for parents trying to keep the magic of Christmas alive, struggling to provide for their children with rising food and gas prices. That's where Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens steps in, serving more families than ever before this Christmas. Kids will have something under the tree, and it's the parents that are experiencing the real reason for the season. Currents News' Jessica Easthope has more from Rego Park.
I love it. It's great.
Isa Maldonado says lately she's hardly felt like supermom. In and out of work since the pandemic began, when it comes to her 4-year-old daughter, she's had to sacrifice the extras to pay for increasingly expensive essentials like food and utilities. But today, that changed.
Like, you desperate, like, oh, how am I get this? How am I do this for my daughter? You know, they believe in Christmas, and yeah, it's a beautiful feeling.
Isa's family is one of 900 who registered to be part of Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens annual toy drive. This year, the need was greater than ever. One of these toys might be the only thing 3,000 children see under the tree this year.
This is a way of saying to them, you know, you're not alone. We're here with you, and we'll walk with you as long as we have to in order to help you.
As COVID spikes once again, the future is uncertain, and people are grateful.
This is perfect.
To say the least.
Things like this make you believe, like, it's a miracle, like there has to be something out there that's looking out after us.
Is this a gift come from God?
You need to never lose the hope and faith in others, and good things can come.
This year, the toy drive was set up at Our Lady of the Angelus Church in Rego Park.
Okay, let's go and see what we can find.
People walk in, are given an elf to shop with inside Santa's toy shop, and pick one gift for each child from a selection that makes it look and feel like the real thing. At a time of the year that's financially hard on most, these families say Catholic Charities has restored their faith and belief in the magic of Christmas.
This is a blessing because to find this is very hard, and thank God I did.
In addition to toys, every family was given a bag of food. It's a little extra that goes a long way. In Rego Park, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
The tablet newspaper is also looking to help kids this holiday season with their own drive, the Bright Christmas campaign, and they are so close to their goal. Drum roll for the tally. They have now received $113,000 from their generous readers. The paper's hoping to raise $115,000 to make sure every kid in the diocese has a gift this Christmas season. So if you'd like to help them get there, just head online to thetablet.org and click on Bright Christmas. Or if you're a subscriber to the paper, just fill out the slip provided inside. Make your check out to the Bright Christmas Fund and mail it to Bright Christmas LB number 2118. P.O. Box 95,000, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania 19195. Over in the Philippines, a different kind of holiday season is unfolding. Bishops there announcing that Christmas Day and the 26th will be national days of prayer for families affected by Super Typhoon Ray. The announcement comes as the death toll climbs to 375, with many more still missing. The Philippines Red Cross reporting complete carnage in coastal areas after the out-of-season typhoon ripped through homes, hospitals, and churches. In response, Caritas Philippines is mobilizing their relief work. They're asking for donations to help send emergency aid to the most remote regions. If you'd like to help out, just head on over to nassa.org.ph and click Take Action. That's nassa.org.ph and click Take Action. Flight attendants asking the government to take action. Coming up, why these airline employees want to be trained in self-defense, and it's got nothing to do with terrorism. Plus, more than 100 examples of the true meaning of Christmas. We'll check out the scene at the Vatican. And another sort of homecoming for Brooklyn's Bishop Robert Brennan, why this church visit was so special. It doesn't seem that COVID is stopping Christmas travel. The rush is only ramping up. The Transportation Security Administration saying it screened more than 2 million people at airports nationwide for the 5th day in a row. And that's just the beginning of it. They're anticipating 30 million more people through the new year. Altogether, airlines could be looking at a 184% increase compared to 2020. Another thing that's increasing, reports of unruly passengers. The FAA says it's received more than 5,600 reports this year, and flight attendants want the government to take action. They're talking about self-defense training to become fight crews rather than flight crews. Home for the holidays. AAA estimates more than 109 million Americans will be traveling this season, a nearly 34% increase from 2020.
But if you look at just the number of people who are going to fly, it's more like a 184% increase.
And if you're flying to your destination, brace yourself for unfriendly skies. As of December 14th, the FAA says airline crews have reported more than 5,600 incidents involving unruly passengers. The agency usually investigates fewer than 200 incidents a year. And more than 4,000 of the incidents reported in 2021 were mask-related.
The biggest problem for flight attendants is that when there is inconsistency in communication, that puts us in harm's way because we are charged with enforcing that mask mandate.
Sarah Nelson with the Association of Flight Attendants says changes are needed to stop the violent behavior on planes, including mandatory self-defense training, an industry-wide no-fly list for disruptive passengers, and an end of alcohol-to-go cups at the airport.
When people have that alcohol and then they go up in the air and the cabin is pressurized at 8,000 feet and they have less oxygen coming in, that affects them more, and they make bad decisions. And it is a major contributor that is getting our people hurt, and it needs to stop.
And as travel soars to new heights this season, Nelson says the industry is ready.
We believe that the holidays are going to be okay for the consumer, for the traveler, because we negotiated with the airlines incentives for people to come to work.
Many airlines are giving staff extra pay to work during the holidays, and American Airlines is even giving bonuses to employees with perfect attendance. While it may soon be harder to bring alcohol on a plane, it may also not be so easy finding it on store shelves. Another thing to blame on supply chain issues, a shortage of beer, wine, and liquor. According to new data, 11% of alcoholic beverages have been sold out in stores nationwide since the end of November. There's also a shortage in glass, cork, and necessary materials to bottle, which means if you can find it, you'll pay more for it. And if you're planning to toast the new year with a glass of champagne, hopefully you already purchased your bottle. Champagne producers in France are bubbling over with excitement because of record sales this year. The bubbly has been out of stock in French stores, but experts say there's no underlying shortage because champagne producers have large reserves that can be tapped into. So you can toast to that. As you get ready for your holiday celebrations, it's always important to remember the real reason for the season, and the Vatican is reminding you in more than 100 different ways. Justin McClellan shows us.
This year's nativity display in the Vatican comes from Peru and is capturing the attention of pilgrims traveling to Rome from around the world. But it's not the only nativity display in St. Peter's Square. There were more than 100 others under its colonnade as part of a special exhibit organized by the Pontifical Council for Promoting New Evangelization, titled 100 Nativity Scenes in the Vatican. The exhibit shows unique nativity scenes from 15 countries, such as Indonesia, Kazakhstan, and Venezuela. Each one represents a different culture and a distinct way of celebrating Christmas. These 15 countries wanted to represent the nativity as it is done in their culture, in their own tradition. They are nativity displays of varying natures, made from different materials, very particular, and some are very precious. They come in all shapes and sizes, from occupying the front of a bus to fitting inside a coffee pot. The Vatican firefighters submitted a nativity scene inside of a fire extinguisher, while another is made entirely of dark chocolate. There is even a section dedicated to nativity displays made by children. When someone asks us and we tell them that they are not all made from, let's say, professionals or by artists, they are truly shocked and amazed by the beauty and by the message that they manage to convey. Over 45,000 people have already visited the exhibit, which aims to be a source of hope at Christmas during another year marked by the pandemic. This is just a small way of helping to sustain, accompany, and maybe why not even revive the faith of many brothers and sisters who, in the face of the difficulties we are experiencing, have a wavering faith. Each display has its own story and is a unique testament to the spirit of the season, adding over 100 reasons that Christmas in the Vatican is like nowhere else.
Again, that was Justin McClellan reporting. The nativity scenes will be on display through January 9th.
St. Joseph is the Savior of the Savior. He's the teacher of the teacher. He's the master of the master.
Christmas is the perfect time to take a deeper look at the Holy Family. A new documentary out now is putting the spotlight on St. Joseph. So what makes St. Joseph so special? We actually don't know too much about him. That's why the Knights of Columbus decided to find out more. Speaking to experts and theologians in the documentary, St. Joseph, Our Spiritual Father. The film, which was made in honor of Pope Francis's Year of St. Joseph, provides a glimpse into the little-known details about one of the most well-known father figures. We spoke to Supreme Knight Patrick Kelly, who says it's St. Joseph's role as protector of families that is needed now more than ever.
St. Joseph is such an extraordinary saint. I mean, he was a man of prayer, courage, and obedience. And those virtues, I think, are so important in our society today. They're important for men, obviously, but they're also important for families.
St. Joseph, Our Spiritual Father is out now. You can watch the documentary in full on the Knight's website, kofc.org. Speaking of fathers, Brooklyn's Bishop Robert Brennan just made a special visit to his father's parish growing up. The parishioners of St. Bridget's Church in Bushwick greeted the bishop with music and homemade signs. Bishop Brennan feeling as if they were family, even though it's been decades since his father and grandparents attended Mass there. The bishop made time to celebrate 2 Masses there. He also blessed newly renovated confessionals in the back of the church. Still to come on Currents News, he's not even old enough to drive, but he's heading to college. We'll introduce you to this child prodigy. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. Beautiful. It's a new Christmas carol just in time for the holiday, and this choir is a special one. Each child here has a beautiful voice and a learning disability of some sort. Their song is called In the Arms of a Carpenter, and as the title suggests, it focuses on the figure of St. Joseph. If you ask their choir director, he says the song aims to teach other children about the true meaning of Christmas.
What we've seen so far is that we've managed to teach the kids the meaning of carols. Why do we sing carols? To adore the infant Jesus, to remember this very important event. And it's great to see how the children know it by heart and sing it at home. And that's our goal with this project, that all the children sing carols with their family.
The choir is from a Catholic school in Madrid, Spain. They hope their carol can convey a message of inclusiveness and hope. An 11-year-old in Arizona isn't letting his own disability get in the way of life goals. In fact, he's getting ready to head to college. You heard that right, an 11-year-old heading to college. Cameron Pallone spoke with the brilliant kid.
8,006.
At just 11 years old,
0.1.
calculus homework is no match for Monty Hernandez.
That's right.
While other kids his age are hoping to make the middle school basketball team, Monty is preparing to enter his freshman year of college.
It's very important to study because without studying, you won't make it far.
Let me tell you, Monty studies a lot, whether in the car or in the stands of his sister's softball game. The Mensa Society member puts in the work.
I didn't have any idea that at 9 years old, he would ace a high school chemistry class.
Monty's mom, Danielle, says it's been quite a journey for her son. He didn't speak until he was 4, was diagnosed with autism, and began his schooling in special education. Testing would soon send him on a meteoric rise through academic levels.
At first, when I was with people older than me, it was weird, but over time, it gradually become the norm.
After years of difficulty with strength, agility, and fine motor skills, Monty was diagnosed with a connective tissue syndrome, requiring him to need special accommodations for his learning.
And it explains his low muscle tone, his joint pain, needing a scribe sometimes to write, especially in these math classes where the problems are getting so long, he has to write so much.
He continues to push through at every turn. Sadly, doctors also discovered an ascending aortic aneurysm. Until the aorta is replaced, it's a condition that can lead to sudden death.
At any point in time, I have to be there to say, it's time to go to Phoenix Children's, call his cardiologist.
But for this determined Mesa Skyline senior, the prospect of death doesn't faze him, especially with so much left to achieve.
If I'm gonna die, I at least wanna try my hardest to do my life goal. I don't want to go out without a bang.
Again, that was Cameron Pallone reporting. Monty is heading to Arizona State University, where he plans to major in biochemistry and pre-med. Good luck to him. That is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.